So I'm Phoebe Morris, as you just heard. Kind of covers off the intro today. I'm going to talk about some stuff I've done, first of all, so you can get an idea of why I'm here speaking to you. Normally I only kind of do talks that are about my work and showing what my work is and how I do it, but with the theme today, I'm trying to do something a little different, so stay with me, because I'm going to take you through generating wonder and then applying wonder, and some methods I've kind of come up with for that, which hopefully you can understand. We'll see how we go. And then going to talk about some things to wonder about. If I'm talking too quietly, please don't be shy, just flail or yell. Okay. Please. I'll try. I'm yeah, all right, there's no microphones. It's really early and normally I'm still in bed because I'm self-employed. I prefer to work on the later end of the day, not a morning person or an evening person. Anyway, some of my work, just first of all. So I spend a lot of time illustrating picture books. Usually do about one a year. This year I'm doing 3. The main series I've done is a series with Penguin New Zealand, and it's Penguin Random House New Zealand. And it's about famous Kiwis, and it's sort of true stories but told in a picture book format. So the children are learning, but they don't realize, which is the best way to teach them. So there was Sir Edmund Hillary, then we did Burt Munro, Jean Baden, The Aviatrix. The most recent one to come out was Sir Peter Blake. This one is out in August if you have any children or relatives who, need a book for Christmas. I also worked on Go Girl with 8 other illustrators, which is a really cool publication about famous New Zealand women. And then Cleo and Rob, which is quite a different project I've done this year. I've kind of broken out from my usual picture book illustration style. This is the first time anyone's seen any artwork from this, and this one is out in October, and it's with Allen and Unwin, so keep an eye out for this one because I think it's a goodie. It might be controversial, we'll see. These are from a project that was published online for a client in California. Yeah, I haven't shared it yet, but I'll get around to it just publicly on my profiles. It is up online now, but I just thought I'd show some excerpts from it. This is a really different style. This is an adult dystopian fiction, so very different aesthetic from the picture book work. It was they wanted it to look really film noir. All the illustrations are responsive, so you see these big edges. It's because you view it across all sorts of different devices and it has to crop accordingly. So it was quite an interesting project to work on. I don't have the animated versions, but some of them have little ambient flickering lights and stuff. So some cool things you could do with this one because it's all published online, so you've got a little bit more room to kind of play around and also get darker on the colors. This one's not shown up super well, but you get the vibe. Murals, I do some different mural work. This was the first one I did, which was with a few other friends in Haitaitai, and we just went out there and we busted it out in a day, and it was just kind of for fun, and everyone just kind of picks what they feel like painting on the day. So Will was I'm gonna do a dinosaur, and I did a bear, and Tien did a wolf on a bike wearing a beanie because he felt like it. This is one up in Pole Hill at the playground there, and it's a practice wall for soccer or whatever. So you kick a ball at the target, so you get points if you hit a pest, you lose points if you hit a native bird. Some of you might recognize these if you work over there-ish. Did these for the council last year. No one knew it was me doing them because it was in a wind tunnel during a southerly, so I was completely covered up with just my eyes exposed and headphones on, and people kind of come up and sort of look at them and then sort of turn around to chat and look at me and be oh, she looks terrifying. But this was really fun. And this was me adapting a style that I'd only done digitally and sort of trying it out on a wall, which was an interesting process. Some other projects, I finally have a bit of time now. I do a bit of work for fun. Usually it looks like this. I don't know why. I draw a lot of like weird lions, and people seem to like it. So there's a bunch on my Instagram and some like merch with lions on it that I was selling at ChromaCon recently. I also just doodle little characters and stuff, usually on an iPad. And these are all sort of what I post on my Instagram. My Instagram's kind of my sketchbook for just stuff I'm doing for fun. And then recently I did this piece for Google, which was terrifying, but fun, I think, which was for the Women's World Cup. So they got one person from each competing country to do an illustration. You had to have the ball there. It didn't have to say Google. It wasn't one of those. And it was up on the homepage around different countries whenever our team was playing, but I think we're out now. I don't really know anything about football. Google was like, football, and I was like, birds? And they were like, yeah. So, moving along. So this month's theme, I kind of want to look at wonder from the perspective of finding wonder in the everyday. So how to find seemingly mundane things that you kind of take for granted now interesting again, or amazing, or wondrous. So put together some mental exercises to help you flex your imagination. And just a note on that. So our imagination and capacity for abstract thought is a huge part of what separates us from other animals. So what makes us human is our ability to imagine really complex scenarios. So gray apes can do this to an extent, but a 2-year-old child sort of dramatically overtakes them after that point. They sort of have the same capabilities up until about a child of age 2. And then, yeah, it's just a human thing to wonder and to imagine. And just a disclaimer, so what I'm going to talk about now are these little mental exercises that I've just kind of done intuitively from a young age, probably from like sitting at bus stops heaps and like waiting to get picked up and like waiting in the car at the supermarket and stuff. It's just a way to pass time and kind of find anything that's around you interesting. It might already be an established method of something and I just didn't know about it, but this is the way that I've decided to structure my version of it so that other people can maybe use it. These exercises work best when you're relaxed, bored, unoccupied. So again, sitting at a bus stop, sitting on a train. I think it's hard to find time like this now because like I don't want to be one of those people with bags on phones because like phones are fucking useful, but like maybe try put your phone away because you kind of need to be in that space where your brain is like got nothing and it's looking for something to chomp on. And like this is almost the opposite of meditation because it's not about switching all your thoughts off, it's about letting your thoughts wander off into different places. I don't meditate, maybe it's good, I don't know. I prefer to like think about lots of different things. And resist the urge to edit your thoughts or look for clear ideas or solutions when you're doing this. So you're not like, oh, I've got a creative problem, now I need to like come up with it by doing these. This is more about encouraging your brain to sort of free up and like connect different things, and it's sort of like loosening up, like little stretches. So this is what I thought I'd start with because it's pretty like, bit of pavement and tree and some like sticks and stuff. So here is how I would go about finding this setting amazing or interesting. And I've broken it down into, I think, 3 or 4 methods. So it's sort of visual exercise. So open your visualizing bit of your brain. I don't know what that is. I've kind of given photo guides. I have never actually tried to explain this, so this is just how I'm going to try to do it. So first of all, method 1, zoom in. So basically, as you're sitting or standing there, reimagine yourself as if you're like this big in this environment, you know, so that these little bits of rock are like that to you. And just kind of stay in that mode for a little bit, you know. So the edge of this pavement would kind of feel like this cliff. And just spend a bit of time walking around in there and imagining what that would be like. Imagine that the little twiggy bits there is like this huge giant log and you're just this tiny little person next to it. So you're imagining this very mundane place as if it's a landscape that you could sort of transplant yourself into. Method 2, very simple, zoom out. I don't always do it this linear when I'm doing it in my own brain, but I thought I'd break it down. So zoom out. Similar again, so thinking about, oh, this bit of roadside, like, you know, where is this? What does it connect to? When did it get here? What does it look like from up high? It's just a kind of little sliver. You could zoom out again and be like, oh, where is it on planet Earth? Where am I on planet Earth? What's the tilt of the Earth's axis right now? And like, oh, where are we like in time and space? And we're just like so small and insignificant, and like nothing matters like at all. Like you're just a blip. You and this bit of road are a blip in time and space, and it's so unlikely that any of it's there, but it is, and that's just wild. So method 3, back in time. So who put this road here? Were they called Steve or Tracy? Did it help put food on the table? Did they enjoy it? Did they get a sore back? Who put this bit of roading here down? Where did they get the materials from? Where were the materials collected? Was it far away? Was it close by? How was it transported there? And then thinking about where those materials have been before that. So like, how tectonic plates like merge underneath one another and then get spat out volcanoes, or things are underwater for ages, or they get shaped by the wind, and just thinking about like, damn, like where have all these rocks been? Because they have to have come from somewhere. Like everything on Earth is just this big washing machine going round and round. So just thinking about the journey of those rocks, where they were when dinosaurs were around. Has a dinosaur walked past this exact spot? What did it look like? Who else has walked in this exact spot throughout history? And then think about, wow, like Jurassic Park was a great movie, wasn't it? Example again with a pigeon. So same thing, zoom in, thinking about what if I could ride the pigeon? What would that be like? And thinking about, the texture of its foot or its feather up real close. Like you see those sciencey photos online where they've zoomed in on something real close and it looks crazy. Like imagine if you could be close enough to see the pigeon in that way. Imagine a pigeon on like a cellular level and be like, wow, how'd that pigeon evolve? Like, do we have any DNA in common? Like me and this pigeon here, like, is there any crossover? And then zooming out, where does this bird go in the city? Is he part of a big family? Have I seen him before? Where does he hang out? Back in time again. So imagine all the pigeons that had to not die at exactly the right time for you to see that pigeon. Like it's crazy. Like, one of them probably had a near miss with a car, and then it laid an egg, and then that pigeon made another pigeon, which made the pigeon that you're finally seeing. So it's just, again, wild. And pigeons actually, city pigeons evolved from, I think it's called a rock dove. They like lived on cliff sides, which is why they really love living in cities, because all the buildings are just like cliffs, which is kind of a cool idea and a cool way to think of your city as well. And then think about how birds descended from dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are sick, and like, wasn't Jurassic Park a really great movie, and it just still holds up. Method 4, which I thought I'd add for the pigeon, personification. Does he have a favorite food that he finds on the ground and he's like, yes, sick. Like, I've been waiting for a chip like all day. Like, does he have a shoe that he's most afraid of? Does he think that shoes are sentient? Like, is a shoe to a pigeon like a creature? Like, they don't know that a human has a face necessarily. They might think that the shoe is the main part of the human animal, because that's what they're on the ground with. And just like personification is like, it's just funny. It's just more interesting to imagine birds or inanimate objects as if they have some kind of character or personality to them. I just found this online. Credit to whoever made it. And you can sort of do the same exercise for the other image I showed. So you could think about, the road, like, does he mind having his face walked on and like rained on? And this whole process, this whole way of thinking, you can totally create your own version of it. It might be a writing exercise for you rather than a sort of mental visualization thing. You might just sort of, write down pigeon, then write down all the things you can think about that's related to it. And it's just about connecting up different disparate things. And it does help you get into this kind of funny headspace where it's like kind of silly, but also some of the best ideas can come from there because you're just relaxed and you're not editing yourself. And it's just, yeah, I find it helpful. You might find it helpful. I find this quote by Carl Sagan a nice kind of summary of this perspective. And a lot of my methods with this sort of have a grounding in science and my interest in science, and sort of putting a scientific lens on things and using that to unpick things, because science is incredibly interesting and there's kind of nothing more original than the natural world. So it's just a huge resource for ideas and inspiration, and and reference. Just some food for thought as well. It's like we're all related to that, literally. So this is the descendant of all placental mammals. So the ancestor of every human, bat, cat, whale, and mouse. So everyone in this room could be the result of one of these not getting eaten at just the right time. So just, again, more food for thought. Applying wonder. So I guess this is how that thought process kind of feeds into my work. Usually it's my personal work. So this was an ink series that I did that's on my Instagram about a woman who runs away from her wedding and goes into the woods. And there's a whole lot of different scenarios that she encounters. A lot of them play with scale, personification of different animals, kind of on a nature theme again. Also just doodlings like this. I don't really know what's going on, but it's just felt right to draw it. Another one that came from that, again, just thinking about a moth in a different way. And it's like, well, it's still a caterpillar. Like, it's still the same guy in there. He's just, like, dressed up. And I've done a lot of these, what I've been calling one-page stories, which are just kind of little moments from characters and ideas that I've chucked together. And again, these are just for fun. And I've really enjoyed trying to be original with my hashtags. Because apparently 1 billion people use Instagram monthly, but I'm the only person occupying all of these hashtags, including, drum the face of your enemy, high fashion and flappy Versace insectoid, jog and meow, good boys on tour, zebra-free diet, lion distribution services somewhere. Does my bird look big in this? And now bring it to commercial work. So in the case of picture books, all I get from the editor and author is a Word document or a PDF. They don't say like, hey, this page could be this, and like, or give me any guides. I just have a Word document. So in the case of these books, it's a little easier because there is reference material that I can look at. We're not looking to emulate the reference material. The point is that we're telling the story in a different way and kind of bringing that wonder aspect to it. And trying to sort of infuse the pages with a different feeling than if you were just viewing photo reference, or more factual kind of book. So you sort of have to think about every part of the book from scratch, what every scene looks like, how you're composing each scene, kind of where to put the camera. So this is my process at the very beginning. No one usually sees this apart from me because it doesn't make sense to anyone but me, but it's a lot of really scribbly thumbnails. And I'm kind of mapping out the entire book, thinking about different options for each page and then kind of piecing it all together. And then I kind of bring it up to about this level, show it to the publisher. They say, whatever changes they want. And then rendering it up to a kind of finished piece. This was from the Peter Blake book. So it's sort of about telling a sense of story and creating a sense of wonder for different events or environments. With these stories, because they are nonfiction, you're trying to convey both, information and a sense of adventure and wonder about these environments. And like this one, there weren't this many cacti in this desert. It didn't really look like this, but it looks more fun and like desert if we do it that way. Here we've got this guy, he's like waving at a penguin. The penguin's waving back. Awkwardly, this penguin, I think he might be behind the speaker, he's waving too, he's confused. He thinks that he was the one getting waved at. It happens sometimes. I like to kind of add little moments like that in because children always find them as well, which is interesting. And this was another one from the Jean Batten story, and again about conveying information. She's flying back to London, it's changing location while you're reading the story, but also this sort of hidden element here with the bird, and it's sort of, she's now transcended being a person. She's so bloody good at flying, she's like a seabird. She's so good at navigating. They didn't have any electronic systems or anything. It's just her in a plane with a map, and at one point the engine cut out in the middle of nowhere and started diving towards the ocean, and she got it going again. She was fine, but it was just like bloody terrifying occupation. This is a sneaky peek from the new one that's not out until August. About Joan Whiffen, the paleontologist, not very well known, the first person to discover that New Zealand ever had dinosaurs, and she discovered it in her retirement, and she was, completely self-taught. She was awesome, and for this story, we kind of deviated even further from a non-fiction telling, and I actually inserted a lot of the dinosaurs into the story. So it was like, imagine if, you know, this dinosaur is actually in front of her. This is her getting told on the phone that she's discovered it. So it's about sort of her sort of being told that and then sort of picturing that dinosaur. She lived on a farm in Hawke's Bay at that time. Things to wonder about. That's how I wanted to wrap up. I have no idea how we're going for time, but we can do questions or whatever if there's time. I want everyone here to wonder about what the industry is going to be like in 10, 20, 30 years. I'm realistic about the fact that I may not be able to continue being an illustrator. I don't know. I tell my mum that, and she's like, you're crazy, and I'm like, you're apathetic. So please think about that, and for yourself as well. Like you really need to think about, what am I going to be doing if there's not demand for my current skill set anymore because of climate change? And also wonder what you can do about it. So everyone here has skills, design skills, visual communication skills. You can all put those to good use. You don't need to be out there planting trees, you know, if it's not your bag. Like, there's stuff you can do with your skill set that's really helpful, and I think a lot of those people are running those kind of community efforts are really in need of designers and communicators and creatives. So I guess my thing that I do for myself now is I kind of allocate an amount of time each year that's for koha, kind of conservation work. So I've done some stuff with Predator Free New Zealand and the Pole Hill Conservation Project. And I'm not saying work for free, but I'm saying think about where you could allocate some of that time in a really considered way. This was a piece that I did for the School Strike for Climate. School Strike for Climate is not just for children. Please go out in solidarity with them, like go out and support. They're organising I think a strike for everyone in September. And again, really good to get involved with and promote in any way that you can. It has subtitles. I love that clip. It's great. And I feel like it really neatly summarizes kind of, what I was trying to say today about just finding wonder in the everyday, and being able to sit at a bus stop for an hour and not get bored, because there's always something to look at, even if it feels like there's not. And I don't know how to skip to the next slide now. Cal, it's not doing it. Yeah, I've got one more. Sorry. That's all good. Yeah. So just, me plugging some stuff again. School Strike for Climate's real good. Gen Zero Extinction Rebellion if you're freaking out about climate change, which you all should be. Zero Carbon Bill is currently open for submissions. If you don't know what to put in your submission, Gen Zero has a really helpful guide on their website. Submissions close 16 July. Get on it. And thank you for having me and getting up early.